Arrival. In the sprawling galactic arena, a hush fell over the gathered alien civilizations as Earth's lone representative entered the Grand Hall. Myriad eyes, compound and singular, organic and mechanical, all fixated on the peculiar figure striding across the gleaming floor. The human was clad in an unassuming jumpsuit, devoid of the flourishes and ornamentations adorning the other competitors. More striking, however, was the rudimentary-looking device clasped in its hands, a primitive contraption of cables, pulleys, and flexible limbs that the arena's AI identified as a compound bow. Snickers and chirps of derision rippled through the watching crowd. Many had wondered why the upstart Earth clan, newcomers to the galactic stage, had even been permitted to compete. Wielding such an archaic weapon, the human appeared sorely out of its depth. Vector, a towering insectoid clad in an exoshell of shimmering alloys, leaned towards his saurian compatriot. Is this some sort of jest? That creature looks ready to hunt wild game, not compete against the galaxy's finest. His companion chortled, flicking a forked tongue. I suppose we should applaud their audacity, if nothing else. The human, for its part, seemed deaf to the mockery. It strode to the competitor's podium, bow held aloft, and nodded curtly to the panel of judges. The games were about to begin. The first challenge. A chime sounded, and a disembodied voice boomed through the arena. Competitors, take your positions. Down on the arena floor, a series of circular platforms rose from hidden recesses. The first event, stationary targeting at range. Glowing orbs, pulsing with energy, materialized above each platform. These were no mere bullseyes. Each orb was wrapped in a shimmering force field that would deflect all but the most powerful or precise of shots. The alien competitors shouldered their plasma rifles and particle cannons, eyeing the distant targets with steely focus. The human knocked an arrow to its bow, the gesture almost comically uncouth against the high-tech arsenal on display. Begin, the voice thundered. A cacophony of whining capacitors, thrumming coils, and shrieking energy beams filled the air as the competitors let loose. Most of the initial volleys splashed harmlessly against the orb's force fields. A few shots found their mark, eliciting polite applause. Then, in the maelstrom of blazing light and heat, a single gleaming arrow streaked across the arena. It struck its orb dead center in a burst of sparks, passing clean through the force field and shattering the target within. The crowd fell silent, then erupted in a buzz of astonishment. The human, face impassive, lowered its bow. The judges whispered urgently amongst themselves, studying holo-displays with increasing agitation. One fact became inescapably clear. The Earthling's bow was no mere primitive relic. Beneath that unassuming exterior lay technology far more advanced than any had suspected. As the competition progressed, the human archer continued to astound. Arrow after arrow found their mark with uncanny precision, each shot perfectly tuned to penetrate its target's unique shielding. Glances of derision gave way to murmurs of grudging respect. The Earthling, it seemed, would not be dismissed so easily. Moving targets. The chime sounded once more, signaling the start of the next round. Where stationary orbs once hovered, now darting drones whizzed and wove in dizzying patterns. Their shields shimmered and pulsed in random oscillations, making them devilishly difficult to hit. Many of the alien marksmen struggled to find their rhythm, shots going wide or glancing harmlessly off the drone's unpredictable defenses. Frustration mounted as the elusive targets danced and spun, always seeming to twist away at the last moment. But the human archer remained unperturbed. With fluid grace, it traced the drone's erratic paths, bow wearing softly as it pivoted and spun. To the astonished onlookers, the human seemed to almost anticipate each drone's movements, loosing its arrows not where the targets were, but where they would be. One by one, the drones fell to the archer's uncanny aim, exploding in showers of sparks and shrapnel. The human moved like a dancer, bow singing as it unleashed a storm of gleaming shafts. In a breathtaking display of skill and precision, the Earthling cleared the field, not a single drone left intact. In the stands, a stunned silence gave way to a rising susurrus of excitement and disbelief. This was no mere luck or happenstance. The human was demonstrating a mastery of its craft that bordered on the preternatural. Some whispered of trickery or forbidden technologies, but the judges' scans came up clean. This was skill, pure and simple, skill that none had expected from an Earthling. As the human strode back to its podium, a hush of anticipation settled over the arena. The games had taken an unexpected turn, and all eyes now fell upon the unassuming figure with its miraculously potent bow. The next round promised to be one for the ages. The slighted champion. As the echoes of the human's astonishing performance faded, a new figure strode onto the arena floor. Tall and lithe, clad in shimmering robes that shifted and flickered like a heat mirage, it was Zelos Starweaver, champion of the Kareshi and reigning master of the games. For 100 years, none had bested Zelos in the arts of marksmanship. His quantum lancebow, a marvel of psychically attuned engineering, was said to loose beams of pure thought that could thread the eye of a singularity. He had seen the upstart humans display, and his pride demanded redress. "You!" Zelos's voice boomed across the arena, finger jabbing towards the human archer. "I challenge you to single combat. Let us see how your primitive toy fares against a true master's weapon." If the human was intimidated, it gave no sign. It simply inclined its head, a gesture of acceptance, and stepped forward to meet the Kareshi champion in the center of the arena. The crowd buzzed with anticipation as the two took their positions. Zelos, resplendent in his flowing robes, quantum lancebow glowing with barely contained power. The human, unadorned and unassuming, its simple bow held steady. "Begin," the voice thundered, and the duel commenced. Zelos moved like quicksilver, bow flashing as it loosed beams of searing radiance. But the human was faster. It dove and rolled, arrows flying in a constant stream, even as it evaded the champion's onslaught. To the crowd's astonishment, the human's arrows seemed to curve in flight, tracing impossible paths to strike at Zelos from unexpected angles. The Kareshi champion found himself on the defensive, his psychic shots increasingly erratic as he struggled to anticipate the Earthling's unorthodox tactics. The duel reached a fever pitch, the air sizzling with energy beams and humming with the whistle of arrows. And then, in a moment that would be replayed across the galaxy for years to come, the human launched itself into a spinning leap, bow singing as it loosed 3 arrows in rapid succession. Zelos moved to counter, but too late. The arrows struck, 1, 2, 3, each finding a critical joint in his armor. His quantum lancebow fell dark as its psychic link was severed, and the mighty champion collapsed to his knees, defeated. In the stunned silence that followed, the human strode forward and offered a hand to its fallen foe, a gesture of respect between warriors. Zelos, to his credit, took it, rising unsteadily to his feet. "You have bested me fairly," he said, voice ringing with reluctant admiration. "I demand to know how. What sorcery empowers your weapon?" The human simply smiled. "No sorcery," it said. "Just human ingenuity. We have much to discuss." Accusations and revelations. In the aftermath of the duel, the arena seethed with controversy. Zelos, nursing his wounded pride, loudly decried the human's tactics as underhanded and dishonorable. His partisans, a vocal minority, echoed his accusations, demanding that the upstart Earthling be disqualified for its alleged trickery. The judges convened an emergency tribunal, summoning the human archer to defend itself against these charges. In the grand hearing chamber, surrounded by the glowering visages of the galaxy's elite, the Earthling stood small but unbowed. "You stand accused," intoned the chief magistrate, "of employing forbidden technologies in your weapon. How do you answer these charges?" The human simply unslung its bow and placed it on the examination table. "Examine it for yourself," it said calmly. You will find no trickery here, only the fruits of Earth's unique approach to technology. The judges pored over the bow, scanners and probes flashing as they dissected its secrets, and what they found astounded them. The bow, far from being the simple primitive device, was a marvel of engineering more advanced than anything they had ever seen. Woven into the bow's limbs were nanofiber composites, stronger and more flexible than any known metal. Its cables were spun from high-tensile ceremotobules, able to store and release titanic energies with each draw. The arrows themselves were self-guided, their shafts laced with metamaterial circuitry that allowed them to adjust their trajectory in flight. And yet, for all its technological might, the bow was still, at its core, a bow. A fusion of ancient tradition and cutting-edge science, a perfect embodiment of Earth's unique path. As the revelations unfolded, the chamber erupted in astonished whispers. Zelos and his partisans fell silent, their accusations ringing hollow in the face of the human's evident mastery. The chief magistrate turned to the human, eyes wide with newfound respect. "Your technology is astonishing," it said. "But why cling to such an ancient form? Why not a rifle or an energy cannon?" The human smiled. "On Earth, we have a saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it." The bow is an elegant weapon, refined over millennia. We saw no need to discard it, only to enhance it. This is our way, to blend the old and the new, to find strength in diversity and wisdom in tradition. A murmur of understanding rippled through the chamber. In that moment, a new respect for Earth and its indomitable representatives took root. A new respect. In the days that followed, news of the human archer's victory spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Holovids of the duel were replayed on every civilized world, the Earthlings' impossible shots and ingenious tactics dissected and lauded by pundits and warriors alike. On Earth, the archer found itself an unlikely celebrity, its humble demeanor and simple wisdom winning hearts and minds across the planet. It was held up as a symbol of human potential, proof that Earth, for all its youth and perceived backwardness, had much to offer the galactic community. In the grand halls of the Galactic Arena, a new respect for Earth took hold. Delegations from 100 worlds clamored to meet with the human representatives, eager to learn the secrets of their unique approach to science and technology. The human archer, for its part, took its newfound fame in stride. It continued to train and innovate, its bow becoming a symbol of Earth's indomitable spirit. And when the next galactic games arrived, it was not one archer that took to the field, but a dozen, each bearing a bow of astonishing sophistication and power. The message was clear. Earth had arrived, and it would not be underestimated again. In the fusion of old ways and new technologies, in the blending of tradition and innovation, the humans had found a strength that would carry them to the stars and beyond. And as the games unfolded, with human archers competing shoulder to shoulder with the galaxy's finest, a new era dawned, an era of cooperation, of shared wisdom and mutual respect, an era in which the upstart clan from Earth would take its place among the great civilizations of the cosmos, their humble bow a symbol of the indomitable human spirit.